with the race for the White House. So how crowded is the Republican field? Well, this past week, two people jumped into the race, George Pataki and Rick Santorum. This coming week, two more are expected to join in, former Texas Governor Rick Perry and South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Add to that the six who had already officially announced, and you can see the crowd is building here. But wait, there's more. There are six others out there who are either sure to run or thinking of running or who perhaps are just toying with the press. And by the way, we have some new numbers on the race from the latest Des Moines Register Bloomberg poll of Iowa caucus goers in that important first state of Iowa. Scott Walker tops the field with 17%. The next four, Rand Paul, Ben Carson in double digits, Jeb Bush and Mike Huckabee just below that, bunched together, followed by Marco Rubio and Rick Santorum, the winner of the caucuses in 12. The rest of the field trails even further behind. Ted Cruz is leading the second tier there at 5. In a moment, I'll talk to John Kasich, who's down at just 2% in this Iowa poll. But first up is former Senator Rick Santorum of Pennsylvania, the last man standing against Mitt Romney in 2012. Senator Santorum, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you, Chuck.
Well, I got to start with, you're at 6% in a poll of Iowa caucus goers in a state that you won 4 years ago. How do you not look at that and say, geez, I probably have 100% name ID with likely Iowa caucus goers, and I'm in single digits? Are you concerned that you don't have the same support or strength of support that you did 4 years ago?
Well, you know, all I can say is that we have a tremendous group of volunteers there. In fact, we signed up 100 volunteers just this week online, which brings our total to well over 500 across the state. I didn't announce until after that poll, and you know, we've been sort of not in front of the TV for a long time, 3 years, where I was off providing for my family and you know, making money to send kids to college. So we just announced this week, and we'll wait and see how those polls look as the months go on.
I want to go to foreign policy. You very much want to see no changes to the Patriot Act at all. If you see the changes that are made with this USA Freedom Act that's likely to be the new law of the land where the tech companies hold this data, do you think that that is going to somehow make us less safe?
Look, I think the Patriot Act has worked very well. I'm not aware of any abuses of the Patriot Act that cause any undue fear about invasion of privacy. But at this point, it's likely that what the House passed is really the only version that has viability, and I would vote for it if I was the United States Senate. As president, I would sign it. So I'm encouraging everyone to let bill become law, and we can move forward from there and judge to whether that provides us sufficient security going forward.
I want to get to a few other issues here. It's short, but we're going to have you back a lot. I think it's necessary with so many candidates in this race. But Mike Huckabee said this week that the Supreme Court can't overrule the other two branches of government, and he has suggested that if the court rules that the 14th Amendment requires states to recognize same-sex marriage, that the states should act to disregard the ruling. As you know, this ruling is going to come down in perhaps 3 or 4 weeks, could happen as early as next week. Do you agree with Mike Huckabee on that one?
Well, I think the Supreme Court has, as an equal branch of government, the ability to overrule Congress and the president. They do it all the time. But I also feel it's the role of the Congress and the president to push back. I mean, I think it's important that they are understood to be equal branches of government. And I've done it before. I mean, we had a situation when I was in the Senate where the Supreme Court ruled a bill unconstitutional. And we went back and passed another bill almost identical, made the case that the court got it wrong, and passed it, and the court reversed its opinion. So I think it's important to understand that the Supreme Court doesn't have the final word. It has its word has validity, but it's important for Congress and the president, frankly, to push back when the Supreme Court gets it wrong.
So will you accept the Supreme Court ruling? If they legalize same-sex marriage for the entire country, do you accept that ruling, or do you fight it?
Well, of course I'd fight it. That Roe versus Wade was decided 30-some years ago, and I continue to fight that because I think the court got it wrong. And I think if the court decides this case in error, I will continue to fight as we have on the issue of life. And that's the role of a citizenry. We're not bound by what 9 people say in perpetuity. We have an obligation and a right in a free society to push back and get our Congress and our president and rally the American public to overturn what the court wants to do.
But you're not advocating what Mike Huckabee is advocating and having states ignore the law, ignore the ruling.
I don't advocate civil disobedience. I do advocate the role of an informed citizen to try to overturn when a court makes a mistake and gets an issue wrong.
Obviously, you're known more as an economic populist, really, than any other Republican in this field. And it's interesting to me, while a majority of the country favors a candidate who supports, say, raising taxes on the wealthy or raising the minimum wage, the Republican Party itself isn't there. Do you worry that you're out of step with the Republican primary voters, even if you're in step with general election voters?
Yeah, I just